Hello, I'm Danielle Scott and welcome back to my blogs. Today I'm going to be talking to you about a big dance festival called Move It. Now I attended Move It this year alongside many other colleges and famous or influential dancers. Now Move It is done every year. This year it was at the Excel Centre. It's a really big area and it's the type of place where you can go to either do classes, watch shows, or especially if you're a dancer who's just about to go into the industry or just about to go to a vocational school, it's really good for looking around and deciding where you want to go. Now, Move It 2017 did a lot for me. As I'm in my third year and I was in 3 Move It pieces, I learned a lot. So, these 3 Move It pieces I was in were Westworld, Throwback and Stormborn. They were all choreographed by different people, 2 of which I was chosen for and 1 of which I auditioned for. They were all really different and the styles differed and the themes and emotions differed, and it was really fun to do and it taught me a lot. The first thing that being in all these 3 pieces taught me was how to handle long rehearsals. Now, some of the rehearsals we'd have 8-hour days and we'd be doing the same 1 minute of dance all day. Now, don't get me wrong, my brain wandered often and sometimes I really felt like I just needed to stop. However, in the dance industry, that's not something you can do. When you're being paid to work, you can't just turn around and be like, sorry, I've had enough for today. So, Move It rehearsals taught me how to handle long hours. They also taught me how to handle many days without a break. Now, I think I did something like 6 weeks without a weekend, without a day off. Now, this is rare and it probably doesn't happen much in colleges, but just because I was in 3 pieces and I had a lot of stuff to do, I'm also doing DDI, it turned out that I didn't have a day off for, over a month and a half. Now, I don't plan on having to do that very often, but at least now I know that if I had to, I could. However, I would say next time I have to do a stunt that long, I try and make sure I'm keeping up on my vitamins, keeping up on my sleep, keeping ahead of my work, because I definitely got run down and I definitely felt tired and overworked by the end. But it was worth it when I did the shows. Something else that came out of Move It that was good was the fact that I now have 3 shows to put on my show reel. So this year at Creative, it's obviously my last year and I have to create a show reel to send off to the people that are looking for me as a potential employee. So all 3 dances have bits that I've put in my show reel for different reasons. I put Westworld in because of the technique, I put Stormborn in because of my performance, and Throwback in also because of my performance, but more because it's cheesy, whereas Stormborn was very fierce. I wanted to show that I could do lots of different styles and that I can really perform. I think that all the dances went really well with the jobs I want to do, as I do want to be up on stage and I do want to be performing dance for people. One final thing that all 3 of the dances did well for me is show experience. So I got the experience of actually being on a stage with a massive audience and knowing what it feels like. This makes me really happy and excited because it's what I want to do as a career and it's what I want to do and will be doing very soon now. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about each performance. So Westworld was inspired by the show Westworld and it's all very sassy, the women are very fierce. It's all kind of set in Western times where the ladies wore corsets and the men wore cowboy hats and cowboy boots and all carried guns around. Now, something that Westworld did for me is it made me able to learn a lot of material and remember it. The way that Caroline works, who's our teacher, is that she teaches everybody the material and then you get chose for one specific bit. So even though you're learning a lot of material, you don't do all of it. However, things change, and for Westworld, one of our dancers had to leave the week of the show. Because of this, all the routine was changed around and we all had to do different bits. Now, if we hadn't have learned each individual section, we'd have never done that. And I guess that's the same as being a swing for a Broadway show or a cruise ship, etc. You're gonna know all the work, but you probably won't be dancing it all the whole time. So that's something that I want to take on board and take with me out into the real world. For example, even when people don't ask me to learn all the material, I probably try to, just in case there's another job opportunity from it. Next, something that was bad for me is my injuries. I was dropped in Westworld rehearsals from quite a high height onto my back, and this did seize my back up for a couple of days. However, I did get it sorted straight away. I went to the chiropractor and they clicked me out and helped me, and it wasn't seized up for too long. Also, my ankle was bad. Now, I think this was generally just because in Westworld there was a lot of turns, leaps. It was all very technical, and things like that hurt my ankle. However, I am always trying to make my ankle better. I'm going to the chiropractor, I'm going to the Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital, and I've been doing that now for a while. I'm very, very prepared and very, very willing to make it better. Something as well that went bad for me for Westworld is the performance on the actual day at Move It. We were so prepared, we'd rehearsed so much, we all knew everything, and when it got onto the stage, it was just so different from what we expected. The stage felt a lot more enclosed than what we'd been rehearsing in, which was weird because we had rehearsed with the boundaries. And just generally because it was bright, because you could see everybody, it was a different vibe, and people dropped their things, people were dropped out of lifts. It just wasn't professional, it wasn't good on our standard, but I can't give you a reason why it went wrong, because we'd warmed up beforehand, we'd done nothing but go through it, we'd been focused on it. It's just one of those things, and that's going to happen in the real world as well, and you can't beat yourself up too much about it. But ending on a positive, another thing that's really helped me with Westworld is my technique. I just feel like the movements that Caroline put in, we did a lot of double pirouettes, a lot of kicks, a lot of, it was mostly performed in turnout. It just really helped me get through my semester, keeping my technique to a high level, like I need to do for my auditions and for when I leave uni. So next I'm going to talk about Throwback. Now this was an 80s inspired piece by David Allwood. It was a very uplifting, happy, cheesy number, kind of my style. So one of the good things from Throwback for me is the trio. I was actually selected with two other girls to do a trio at the beginning, a technical one. And my teacher in fact told me that he was inspired from watching me in Fame and wanted to put me in a technical number. The trio pushed me because I was doing turns and jumps and lots of petit battement and things that I don't do very often. I mean, I don't class myself as that much of a technical dancer, but people tend to say I am. So if people think I am, then I'm going to play on that and I'm going to really go for it if that's what I'm viewed as. And I just think that that little 4 counts of 8 really helped me believe in myself. Another thing that from Throwback that I really enjoyed was the lift. So I did a lift with the boys where they flipped me over their shoulders. My teacher David was like, who's comfortable going in the air? And I was like, yeah, me. Because I just love being lifted, I love flying. I did acro when I was younger, so it comes from that. However, because the boys got taken out of the piece in the end, 2 girls had to do the lift with me. The lift was just as good with the girls as it was with the boys, if not better, just because they were like a smaller height, so I didn't feel as scared in the air. This lift, unfortunately, was not filmed very well for my show reel, otherwise I would have put it on there. But it just kind of showed me to put my trust in people, obviously to a certain degree, but if I put my trust in people, I'm going to get results. Another thing that I've achieved from Throwback is handling a quick shoe change. Now, I had a lot of problems with my shoes, and I probably just made it harder for myself because I didn't have the correct shoes, but in the end I got some shoes that were easy to slip on, and I handled a very quick change. Now, for other dancers this might not be quick, but I've not had that much experience with quick changes at all. I mean, in the time that I changed my shoes, some people have probably changed the whole outfit before. However, it gave me a little bit of a glimpse into the life of what I'm going to be doing and how quick I'm going to have to change when I get out there and have to do costume changes. One bad thing about Throwback, and this wasn't a bad thing about the number at all, but it was the fact that we didn't have any rehearsal a week before the show at all. Now, this was nerve-wracking, and I did get a bit nervous because obviously I was in 3 dances. I was in 1 each day of Move It, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So I thought, oh gosh, it's going to get to Sunday when David is and I'm not going to remember it. But I just made sure I went through it a little bit each day, even if it was in my head. And it actually really, really worked. We pulled it off a treat. We were all so enthusiastic and so energised at 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't know how we did it, but we just all must have been really committed to the number, really committed to the theme and the 80s vibe, and it really worked, and David was really pleased with us. So last but not least, I'm going to talk about Stormborn. So one small negative about Stormborn is the fact that it just tend to change a lot the weeks and the week running up to Move It. Now this made me a little bit unconfident with the movement, and it made me think negatively and think, oh, I'm going to go on stage and do something wrong. I didn't. I got it all right. I performed it to my best ability, I believe. But it just kind of shows me that I need to be a bit more mentally prepared for things like that to happen and not let them worry me. Because in the real world, as I've talked about before, if I'm a swing, I've got to know some movement that I might have not done for weeks. So this has kind of prepared me a little bit to start thinking about being more responsible with my movement. Finally, a positive about Stormborn is that I've got to learn a new style that I'm still not that familiar with. Now, we have a teacher called Tyra Fu. She's amazing, and I have had her since last year, but I still don't feel confident with her style. However, when I do her style, which I say is kind of an urban, contemporary hip-hop fusion, I get a lot of compliments just because I am quite hard-hitting, and it makes me think, well, maybe this is something that I could go out and do when I'm graduated. I should broaden my horizons and not just stick to wanting to be a jazz dancer when there's other possibilities out there. Overall, Move It was a brilliant experience, and it's really, really prepared me for the professional world. It's definitely something that I enjoyed doing. Although it was hard work, it was worth it. So, thank you very much for watching my vlog about Move It. I hope you've had a fab day, and I hope you've enjoyed it.